Hey class, I just want to take a few minutes and talk about the final milestone. So I've got pulled up here the rubric, and so the last milestone, final paper, is going to be a combination of milestone 2 and 3 and the final paper, which includes evaluation. So these are the key components I want to make sure that you include in the paper, and that's a perspective analysis, and then using that perspective analysis, a valuation of the company. So what you're going to do is you're going to create this projection, this perspective analysis, discount it back to present value, apply some discounts, and then you'll have your company value. So I'm going to give you an example of what I'm looking for, and you're welcome to use this exact template here. So, okay, so what is happening here is at the top, these numbers are historical earnings numbers, historical net income. For the period 2013 to 2017. Made some normalization adjustments. We've talked a little bit about that this term. Then we get to normalized earnings, and from there I create projected earnings. So this 176 is actually a weighted average of these numbers, and then each year I increase it by 1 to 2 to 3%. And I do that for the next 5 years up until 2022. And then for the terminal value, I take the last year's projection and increase it by what's called the long-term growth rate. Long-term growth rate it's a number that's established by the Federal Reserve. It's about 2.5%. So essentially what you're doing for this last number is taking 195,000, increasing it by 2.5%, and that's your terminal value. Then you're going to discount each one of these values by the discount rate to present value and then add them up. So this 887,000 is just the sum of all of these numbers. The discount rate, there's a lot that goes into this number, just like there's a lot that goes into the discount for lack of marketability and discount for lack of control, which is the DLOC and the DLOM. But I'm going to let you just use some standard percentages, but I did want to real quickly give you an example of what all goes into the discount rate and the DLOC and DLOM. So for the discount rate, your base percentage is going to be your current risk-free rate, and again, you do not have to do this. I'm just showing this to you for your benefit, just to let you know how it's done out in the field. So you start with the current risk-free rate. You add the equity risk premium, or the expected equity risk premium here, add an industry risk premium. So these are risk premiums, or it's basically a measure of risk associated with this particular industry or this particular stock, whichever stock it is that you're evaluating. Then there's a micro cap equity size premium you add, and there's a specific company risk premium, and this is kind of up to the judgment of the evaluation analyst. So these are all pieces of the discount rate that will vary depending on the specific stock you're looking at. So this is an old valuation that I worked on years ago. So now real quickly, let me look at let's look at DLOM real quick, discount for lack of marketability. There's so many different ways to come up with this number. The IRS, there's a job aid out there. The IRS has come up with their own method for calculating discount for lack of marketability that's applied in certain areas. I mean, you can see it's pretty extensive here. So I've used this in the past. There should be another one down here. So this is a section that I created that I paste into my evaluations, and I base it's partially on IRS revenue rulings. It's based on restricted stock studies, something called the Copeland study, Cooley study. I mean, so there's just all these different factors that go into coming up with the ultimate discount for lack of marketability. And same thing for the discount for lack of control. You look at different factors, and discount for lack of control is a little bit more subjective. But based on that, you come up with your your ultimate discount for lack of control. And now if we go back to the example, so those numbers, you plug those in here, but again, you don't have to do that. So the discount rate would be here. So I'm discounting all of these projections up here by 20%, summing it. Then I apply the discount for lack of control first, and that gets me to $798,000. Then I apply the DLOM, and that gets me to $599,000. So that's a business valuation in a nutshell, real quick. So, but again, these are the main components that I'm looking for in your final product. So if you have any questions, then let me know, and I'm happy to make myself available.